Imagine waking up one morning, the familiar scent of coffee brewing, the gentle hum of your home, and the comfortable rhythm of a life you've meticulously built over 2 decades. You stir your mug, perhaps lost in the mundane joy of planning a day, a week, a future, and then, in a single shattering moment, everything you believe to be true about your world, your partner, and even your own family implodes. This isn't just a story about infidelity. This is a chilling chronicle of calculated betrayal, insidious manipulation, and the breathtaking resilience of a woman who refused to be a victim. Our story begins with Gloria, a woman whose life mirrored the successful catering business she'd built from the ground up, ordered, thriving, and filled with the promise of more. Every morning began with ritual: coffee, quiet contemplation, and the mental orchestration of menus and events. Her husband, Roland, was a constant, if sometimes casually forgetful presence. He'd left his phone on the kitchen counter again, a minor annoyance she barely registered amidst the grander plans for the upcoming Henderson wedding. But that day, that oversight would become the fulcrum upon which her entire reality would pivot. The phone buzzed, a jarring interruption to the peaceful morning. An unknown number flashed on the screen. Roland was still upstairs, presumably preparing for work. A fleeting thought crossed Gloria's mind. Perhaps it was a client, a supplier, or a family emergency. Out of concern, out of a routine consideration for her husband's affairs, she answered. She expected a stranger, a professional voice, perhaps a polite inquiry for Roland. What she heard instead was a soft, intimate whisper, laced with an affection that sent a sickening jolt through her. "Good morning, baby. I love you so much. I can't wait to see you today." The coffee cup, a familiar comfort, slipped from her trembling fingers, crashing to the floor in a symphony of ceramic shards and spilled, steaming liquid. The voice wasn't just familiar, it was deeply ingrained in her memory, a voice associated with warmth, trust, and unwavering support. It was her Aunt Bethany, her mother's younger sister. The woman who had been a second mother to her, who had helped braid her hair as a child, offered advice through awkward teenage years, stood by her side at her wedding, and shared her deepest secrets. Bethany's voice, oblivious to the silent devastation it was wreaking, continued its tender murmur. "Are you there? I know you have to be careful with Gloria around, but I need to hear your voice." The words twisted the knife already plunged deep into Gloria's heart. 20 years of marriage, 15 years of loving Bethany like a mother, and this was the devastating return. The betrayal was so profound, so multi-layered, it stole the very air from her lungs. Roland's name, spoken with such possessive endearment by her aunt, echoed in the silent, shattered kitchen. Bethany's tone shifted, a hint of concern entering her voice. "Hello?" Gloria ended the call without a single word. She stood amidst the wreckage, broken ceramics, spreading coffee, and the debris of her shattered illusions. Her entire world, it seemed, had just crumbled around her feet. The woman who had taught her about men, celebrated every milestone, and held her hand through miscarriages, was now the one sleeping with her husband. The sheer audacity, the depth of this treachery was incomprehensible. Footsteps on the stairs jolted her back to the horrifying present. Roland. He was descending, oblivious, ready to step into this tableau of destruction. Her mind, in a flash of survival instinct, raced. She scooped up paper towels, a frantic attempt to erase the evidence of her breakdown, to mask the raw, gaping wound in her soul. Roland appeared in the doorway, adjusting his tie, a picture of cheerful normalcy. "Morning, babe," he said, leaning in for a quick routine kiss on her cheek. "You're up early today." Gloria forced a smile, a grotesque contortion of her face, her heart hammering so violently she was sure he could hear its frantic rhythm. "Just wanted to get a head start on planning the Henderson wedding," she managed, her voice steadier than she could have ever imagined. Roland picked up his phone, which had innocently caused all this devastation. Gloria watched him, every nerve ending screaming, searching for a flicker of guilt, a sign of recognition. "Oh, I missed a call," he said, his tone utterly casual, checking the screen. "Probably work stuff. I'll call them back later." He pocketed the phone, grabbed his coffee, a perfect picture of an innocent man. He acted as if he hadn't been systematically dismantling her life, carrying on a sordid affair with her aunt for who knew how long. The casualness was a new kind of torture. "What time will you be home tonight?" Gloria asked, marveling at the unwavering composure of her own voice. "Usual time, around 6. Bethany called yesterday and wanted to know if we could come to dinner this weekend. I told her I'd check with you first." The way he uttered Bethany's name so nonchalantly, in the same breath as planning a family dinner, made Gloria's stomach churn. The layers of deception, the sheer disrespect were breathtaking. "Sure, that sounds nice," Gloria forced out, every fiber of her being screaming in protest. Roland kissed her goodbye and headed for the garage. As soon as his car pulled out of the driveway, Gloria sank into a kitchen chair, the facade dissolving, and let the tears fall. 20 years of marriage, of building a life, of complete trust, and not once had she suspected such a monstrous betrayal. And Bethany, sweet, loving Aunt Bethany, who had been a pillar of support, helping her choose her wedding dress, comforting her through miscarriages, celebrating every triumph of her catering business. How long had this insidious deception been festering? How many family gatherings had they endured, pretending to be nothing more than relatives, while their sick affair simmered beneath the surface? Gloria wiped her eyes, taking in her kitchen, the very heart of her home and her thriving business. She had built something beautiful here, something she was immensely proud of. She wasn't about to let two calculating cheaters demolish everything she had worked for, but she also wasn't going to confront them immediately. No, that would be too easy. Too quick a victory for them. They had played her for a fool, and now it was her turn to turn the tables. If they wanted a game, Gloria would show them a master strategist at work. She pulled out her own phone, not to call for comfort, but to make notes. Today, Monday, October 15th, was not the day her old life ended, but the day her new one began. The day she ceased being a victim and transformed into a woman with a plan. Roland and Bethany had made a critical error. They had profoundly underestimated her. They saw her as the sweet, trusting wife and niece, incapable of suspicion. They had no idea that the woman who had clawed her way from nothing to build a successful business, fighting for every client and every dollar, was not someone you wanted as an adversary. Gloria finished cleaning the coffee mess, her movements now precise, deliberate. She had a catering business to run, evidence to gather, and a meticulous plan for revenge to orchestrate. Her life was about to become very, very interesting. The following week, Gloria navigated her life in a strange state of hyper-awareness, a performative normalcy that was utterly exhausting, yet incredibly illuminating. Once she knew what to look for, the subtle signs of Roland's affair were no longer subtle. They were everywhere, screaming their truth. His phone, once carelessly left face up, was now always face down on surfaces, a protective shield around its secrets. The increased attention to his appearance, longer showers, a new cologne, all attempts to impress someone else. The mysterious work meetings that ran late, conveniently coinciding with evenings Bethany claimed were dedicated to her book club. These were not mere coincidences. They were meticulously woven threads in a web of deceit. On a quiet Thursday evening, Gloria was in her home office wrestling with invoices when she heard Roland's hushed voice from upstairs, a low murmur of conversation. Her heart leaped into her throat, a cold dread washing over her. She crept to the bottom of the staircase, listening, straining to catch the words that would confirm her darkest fears. "I know, baby. I miss you too," she heard him say, his voice thick with a tenderness Gloria hadn't heard directed at her in years. "Gloria's been working late on some big catering job, so I might be able to come over for an hour tomorrow night." Gloria's hands clenched into fists, knuckles white. Her big catering job was the Henderson wedding, a monumental project she'd been discussing for weeks, one that promised a substantial payout that would finally fund their long-desired kitchen renovation. Roland was actively using her hard-earned success, her dedication, as cover for his sordid affair. "Yeah, she trusts you completely," Roland continued, the words a physical blow. "She has no idea. Sometimes I think you know her better than I do." That last comment twisted Gloria's stomach, a wave of nausea washing over her. Bethany did know her well enough to know precisely how to wound her most effectively, how to betray her in the most personal and devastating ways. Friday morning, a steely resolve settled in Gloria's heart. She called her assistant, Monica, requesting she handle the critical weekend wedding setup. Monica, naturally, was concerned. "Are you feeling okay, Mrs. Patterson? You never miss big events." Gloria's reputation for professionalism was legendary. "I'm fine, Monica. Just need to take care of some personal business. You've got this handled perfectly." Her voice, though calm, held an unshakable determination. Instead of heading to her office, Gloria drove to Roland's workplace, parking down the street, obscured but vigilant. At precisely 11:30 a.m., Roland emerged from the building, got into his car, and drove away. Gloria followed, maintaining a careful distance, her heart pounding with a mixture of dread and grim anticipation. She was about to witness the full, sickening extent of his betrayal with her own eyes. Roland drove to the Riverside Mall, pulling into a parking spot near Macy's. Gloria watched from across the sprawling lot as Bethany, her aunt, approached his car. Even from a distance, the intimacy between them was undeniable. Bethany leaned into the driver's window and they kissed. Not a platonic family peck, but a deep, lingering, romantic kiss that made Gloria's gorge rise. They entered the mall together, hands clasped like a pair of giddy teenagers. Gloria followed, a shadow in the bustling crowds, far enough back to avoid detection. She watched them browse jewelry, her husband buying her aunt an expensive necklace. She watched them have lunch at a quaint little cafe, the same cafe where Gloria and Roland had shared their very first date 21 years ago. The sheer cruelty of that choice, taking his mistress to their special place, was like a physical punch to her gut. But Gloria, a woman now operating on pure adrenaline and calculated resolve, forced herself to remain calm, to keep observing, to meticulously document. She took photos with her phone, ensuring their faces were clearly captured, their intimate gestures undeniable. As they prepared to leave, Gloria overheard Bethany say, her voice oozing anticipation, "I can't wait for tomorrow night. Gloria will be so tired from that wedding, she'll probably go straight to bed." Roland's reply was equally chilling. "Perfect. I'll tell her I'm going to watch the game at Mike's house." Gloria hurried back to her car, waiting for them to depart separately, a carefully orchestrated move in their deception. Bethany left first in her silver Honda, then Roland returned to work, resuming his charade of a dutiful employee. Gloria sat in her car for 10 minutes, processing the devastating scene she had just witnessed. 8 months. That's how long this had been going on, she calculated, based on Bethany's new book club and Roland's sudden influx of late work meetings. 8 months of carefully constructed lies. 8 months of family dinners where they sat across from each other, playing the roles of mere in-laws. 8 months of Gloria unknowingly planning her life around their elaborate deception. That evening, Roland came home with a bouquet of grocery store flowers. Nothing special, clearly an afterthought. "Just thought my beautiful wife deserved flowers," he said, kissing her forehead, a performance of affection. "How did the wedding prep go today?" Gloria, maintaining her facade, replied, "Really well. Monica handled most of it. I'm feeling confident about tomorrow." "Good," Roland said, his eyes glinting with a predatory interest. "I was thinking I might go watch the game at Mike's tomorrow night after you get home. Give you some quiet time to recover." There it was. The lie. Delivered so smoothly, so convincingly. If Gloria hadn't just witnessed his treachery, she might have even found it sweet, his concern for her rest. "That sounds perfect," she said, her voice betraying none of the turmoil within. "I'll probably be exhausted anyway." That night, after Roland succumbed to sleep, Gloria lay awake, her mind a whirlwind of strategic planning. She needed more than just photos. She needed documentation of their lies, irrefutable proof of how long this had been transpiring, and most crucially, evidence of how they had been actively using and manipulating her. She replayed the past 8 months, every family event, every seemingly innocuous comment. Bethany had been present at nearly all of them, often arriving early to help Gloria with preparations, lingering late to clean up. Had she been subtly gathering intelligence about Gloria's schedule, reporting back to Roland about opportune moments for their illicit meetings? Gloria recalled her birthday dinner in July. Bethany had insisted on choosing the restaurant, claiming she knew Gloria's favorite cuisine, yet they ended up at a steakhouse. Roland's favorite, not Gloria's. At the time, Gloria had dismissed it as an oversight, a charming eccentricity. Now the realization struck her with cold clarity. Bethany had been curating a dinner that pleased Roland, not Gloria. The more Gloria thought, the more the pieces of this grotesque puzzle clicked into place. Bethany's sudden, intense interest in Gloria's business, asking detailed questions about her schedule, her clients, her pricing strategies. The way Bethany had subtly altered her appearance, younger, more stylish clothing, weight loss, a more deliberate application of makeup at family gatherings, all of it, Gloria realized with a sickening lurch, had been for Roland. Every single calculated change, every seemingly supportive inquiry. As dawn painted the bedroom windows with its first light, Gloria made a solemn promise to herself she would document everything, every lie, every manipulation, every moment they believed they were clever and untouchable. And when she was ready, she would destroy them both so utterly that they would regret the day they were born. But first, she had a wedding to cater. Even in the crucible of her personal crisis, Gloria Patterson remained a consummate professional. The pervasive nature of betrayal, beyond the affair. Before we delve deeper into Gloria's methodical quest for justice, let's pause and consider the insidious nature of betrayal, particularly when it extends beyond the emotional wound of infidelity. We often focus on the romantic aspect, but what Gloria uncovered was a multi-layered assault on her entire life, her marriage, her family, and her hard-earned livelihood. In my years of observing human relationships, both personally and through countless stories, I've seen how betrayal can manifest in ways people rarely anticipate. It's not just about a clandestine meeting. It's about the erosion of trust, the undermining of self-worth, and sometimes the deliberate sabotage of your professional life. Take, for instance, a woman I'll call Sarah, a talented graphic designer who poured her heart and soul into building her freelance business. She trusted her best friend Emily with all her business strategies, client contacts, and even her pricing models. Emily, seemingly a supportive confidant, was privy to Sarah's every professional aspiration and vulnerability. One day, Sarah started losing clients, high-paying, long-standing clients with no explanation. It turned out Emily, feigning concern, was subtly reaching out to Sarah's network, offering similar services at a slightly reduced rate, leveraging the very insights Sarah had innocently shared. Emily's betrayal wasn't just about friendship, it was about professional parasitism, a deliberate attempt to capitalize on Sarah's trust for personal gain. Sarah, like Gloria, had to shift from emotional devastation to strategic action, meticulously documenting Emily's poaching attempts to save her business and reputation. Or consider John, a small restaurant owner whose long-term business partner, also a close family friend, slowly began diverting funds from their joint accounts. It wasn't an overt theft, but a series of small, consistent withdrawals for personal expenses that gradually escalated. John, trusting his friend, initially dismissed the discrepancies as accounting errors. It was only when the restaurant began facing financial strain and a detailed audit was conducted that the systematic fraud was revealed. The betrayal here was not romantic, but it was just as devastating, destroying not only a business, but also a decades-long friendship and a sense of familial trust. These stories, while different in their specifics, echo the chilling calculatedness Gloria encountered. Betrayal, in its darkest forms, often seeks to destroy not just the emotional core, but the very foundation of a person's life. Gloria's deep dive, unearthing the financial and business betrayal. Saturday evening, after the adrenaline of successfully catering the Henderson wedding wore off, Gloria found herself exhausted but resolute. She sat in her car outside the community center, where her nephew Tyler's graduation party was in full swing. Roland believed she was home, fast asleep, which meant he was undoubtedly with Bethany. Her phone buzzed. A text from her sister, Denise. "Where are you? Tyler keeps asking for Aunt Gloria." Gloria typed back quickly. "Sorry, wedding ran late. We'll be there in 5 minutes." As she walked into the party, a wave of familiar faces greeted her. Cousins, aunts, uncles, friends. Everyone except Bethany, who had conveniently texted Denise earlier claiming a debilitating migraine. Gloria's mother, Helen, rushed over, her face etched with concern. "Gloria, Denise said you were working late. You look tired, honey." Gloria forced a weary smile. "I'm okay, Mom, just a long day. Where's Bethany? I thought she'd be here." Her mother sighed. "Poor thing has one of her bad headaches again. She's been getting them a lot lately. I'm worried about her." Gloria's cousin Rita overheard and joined the conversation. "Beth's been having those headaches every weekend for months now. Always seems to happen when there's a family event." "Really?" Gloria asked, feigning surprise, though the confirmation hit her like a cold wave. "How long has that been going on?" "Since around February, I think," Rita mused. "Remember Easter? She missed that too because of a headache. And your birthday dinner, Tyler's spring concert, Mom's retirement party, always something." Gloria's mother nodded sadly. "I keep telling her to see a doctor, but she insists they're just stress headaches from work." As the evening wore on, Gloria moved through the party, subtly bringing up Bethany's absences with various family members. The pattern became starkly clear. February through October, 8 months of perfectly timed, convenient headaches and mysterious illnesses that kept Bethany away from family gatherings where she might be expected to spend time with both Gloria and Roland. Uncle Jerome, unwittingly, provided another crucial piece of the puzzle. "I ran into Bethany at the movie theater a few weeks ago," he mentioned casually, while they were getting cake. "She was with some man I didn't recognize. I waved, but I don't think she saw me. She seemed real focused on her date." Gloria's heart raced, but her voice remained casual. "Oh, really? Good for her. She's been single for so long. What did the guy look like?" "Tall, brown hair, kind of looked familiar, but I couldn't place him. They were holding hands, so it seemed serious. I'm glad she's finally dating again after that divorce." Gloria nodded and smiled, but inside, she was connecting dots. The timeline fit perfectly with one of Roland's supposed work dinners from the previous month. As she was leaving the party, Denise walked her to the car, her brow furrowed. "I'm worried about you, Gloria. You seem distracted lately. Is everything okay with you and Roland?" For a moment, Gloria considered unburdening herself, telling her sister everything. But she wasn't ready. Not yet. She needed more evidence, more ammunition. "We're fine," she lied, the word tasting bitter on her tongue. "Just busy with work stuff." "Well, make sure you're taking care of yourself, and tell Roland I said hi. We hardly see him at family events anymore." Another piece of the puzzle clicked into place. Roland, too, had been conveniently absent from many family gatherings, citing work conflicts or feeling unwell. Gloria had often attended alone, and everyone had simply assumed he was devoted to his demanding job. Sunday morning, Gloria decided to test her theory. Knowing Roland was at his weekly basketball game, she called Bethany. "Hey, Aunt Beth, how's your head feeling?" Bethany's voice, sweet and solicitous, floated through the phone. "Oh, much better, thank you, sweetie. Those headaches just knocked me out completely. I was thinking we could have lunch this week, just the two of us. It feels like we haven't had girl time in forever." There was a noticeable, awkward pause on the other end. This week is really busy for me. Work stuff. Maybe next month." "What kind of work stuff?" Gloria probed gently. "I thought you said your schedule was pretty light right now." Another pause, longer this time. "Well, it's complicated. New projects coming up. You know how it is." Gloria knew exactly how it was. Bethany was lying, just like Roland, and both were terrible at it. "Of course. Rain check then." "But I miss you, Aunt Beth. We used to talk all the time." "I miss you too, honey. Things will calm down soon, I promise." After hanging up, Gloria sat in her kitchen, a fresh cup of coffee in hand, and meticulously listed all the lies she had uncovered in a single weekend. Bethany's fake headaches coinciding with family events, Roland's non-existent work conflicts, their mutually busy schedules that somehow carved out ample time for secret dates. The insidious way they had been isolating Gloria from both her husband and her aunt, subtly making her feel like everyone was just busy, when in reality, they were busy with each other. The betrayal was far deeper than she had initially realized. It wasn't just an affair, it was a systematic campaign to remove themselves from Gloria's life while maintaining the hollow pretense of care and affection. They had deliberately made her feel alone and disconnected from her own family. But the most excruciating realization was how they had weaponized her love against her. Every time Gloria had worried about Bethany's health, every time she had covered for Roland's absence at family events, every time she had offered an excuse for their behavior to other family members, she had unwittingly been helping them maintain their affair. They had turned her into an unwitting accomplice in her own betrayal. Gloria looked at her growing list of transgressions and smiled grimly. She was building quite a case, but she needed more than just evidence of lies. She needed irrefutable proof of how they had been using her, manipulating her, and financially stealing from her. It was time to dig deeper into their finances. Monday morning, Gloria called in sick to her own business, an unprecedented act, and spent the entire day meticulously sifting through financial records. What she unearthed made her physically ill. Starting in March, there had been a series of mysterious withdrawals from their joint savings account. Small amounts initially, $200 here, $300 there. But by summer, Roland was routinely withdrawing $500 to $800 at a time, always on days when Gloria was engrossed in large catering events, safely occupied and unsuspecting. Gloria then pulled up their credit card statements, finding charges she didn't recognize, certainly didn't remember making. Expensive dinners at upscale restaurants she had never visited. Hotel rooms booked during periods when Roland claimed to be working late. Jewelry purchases from stores she had never patronized. The hotel charges were a particularly cruel twist of the knife. Roland had been taking Bethany to the very same upscale hotel where he and Gloria had spent their wedding night 15 years ago, room 1247. Gloria remembered the number vividly. It had been their special haven. Now Roland was booking that exact room for his illicit rendezvous with her aunt. Gloria calculated the total amount Roland had siphoned for his affair over the past 8 months, a staggering $12,147. Nearly $13,000 of their money. Money she had earned through 16-hour days and countless weekend weddings. Money they had been diligently saving for their retirement, for the kitchen renovation she had painstakingly planned for years. But the financial betrayal extended far beyond the money Roland had stolen. Gloria discovered he had been sharing sensitive information about her business with Bethany, her client lists, her meticulously crafted pricing strategies, her upcoming event schedules. All of it was meticulously documented in a cache of emails between Roland and Bethany, carelessly left saved on their shared computer. The emails made Gloria's blood boil. One read, "From Roland Patterson to Bethany Mitchell. Subject, Gloria's schedule. Gloria has 3 big events this weekend, so she'll be exhausted Sunday night. Perfect time for us to have dinner at your place." Another, from Bethany Mitchell to Roland Patterson. Subject, business idea. I've been thinking about what you said about Gloria's pricing. If I started my own catering business, I could undercut her by 20% and still make a good profit. She's charging way too much for simple events. And Roland's chilling response, from Roland Patterson to Bethany Mitchell. Subject, rebusiness idea. Gloria's biggest weakness is that she's too nice. She lets clients walk all over her. You could definitely steal some of her customers by being more aggressive with marketing. Gloria stared at the screen, a cold dread seeping into her bones. Not only was her husband cheating on her with her aunt, but they were actively conspiring to destroy her business too. Bethany intended to leverage Gloria's hard-earned trade secrets, her intimate client contacts, and her detailed pricing information to become her direct competitor. Dozens of such emails stretched back months, Roland systematically dissecting Gloria's business plans, highlighting her perceived weaknesses and actively assisting Bethany in devising strategies to poach her clients. They had been treating Gloria's success like their personal treasure chest, pilfering her money for their affair, and now planning to outright steal her livelihood. The cruelest part, however, was their casual contempt for her. In the emails, Roland described Gloria as clueless and too trusting. Bethany, with saccharine malice, called her sweet but naive. They mocked her formidable work ethic, labeling her obsessed with perfection, and joked about the ease with which they could deceive her because she always believes the best in people. Gloria printed every single email, every damning bank statement, every incriminating credit card charge. She made multiple copies of everything, securing them in a safe deposit box she opened at a different bank. Whatever came next, she would have irrefutable proof of the extent of their depravity. That evening, Roland returned home with Chinese takeout and a carefully cultivated guilty smile. "Thought you might be too tired to cook after being sick today?" he offered, placing the bags on the counter. "That's thoughtful," Gloria said, her voice even, her eyes dissecting his every micro-expression. "How was your day?" "Busy," he replied. "Mike wants to know if we can do guys' night this Thursday instead of tomorrow. Some work thing came up for him." Another lie. Gloria was beginning to wonder if a Mike even existed, or if he was simply Roland's perennial alibi for his rendezvous with Bethany. "Thursday works fine," she said. "I'll probably work late that night anyway. The Jacobson anniversary party is this weekend?" Roland's eyes lit up with predatory interest. "The Jacobson party? That's the big one you've been planning for months, right? The one with the $8,000 budget." Gloria nodded, watching as Roland's mind silently filed away this valuable information to relay to Bethany later. "Yeah, it's my biggest event this quarter. Mrs. Jacobson wants everything perfect for their 25th anniversary." "That's great, babe. You work so hard. You deserve big clients like that." The false sincerity in his voice made Gloria's stomach churn, but she maintained her serene smile. Let him think she was still the naive, trusting wife he could effortlessly manipulate. It would only make her eventual retribution that much sweeter. After dinner, while Roland was engrossed in TV, Gloria sat at her computer, not for work, but to research divorce lawyers. She wasn't ready to file yet. She wanted to catch them in the act first, to expose them publicly before initiating legal proceedings. But she would be prepared. She also embarked on a new, grim project, meticulously documenting every valuable item in their home. If Roland had been systematically stealing money from their accounts, she needed to ensure he couldn't abscond with their shared assets. She photographed jewelry, electronics, important documents, anything that could be easily moved or hidden. Gloria had built her catering business from the ground up through careful planning and an unwavering attention to detail. Now she was deploying those very same skills to orchestrate Roland and Bethany's downfall. They believed they were so clever, so careful, so much smarter than sweet, trusting Gloria. They had no idea what was hurtling towards them. Tuesday afternoon, while Roland was at work and under the illusion that Gloria was catering a corporate lunch, she drove downtown to the Department of Business Services. A quick public record search yielded a chilling discovery. Bethany had filed paperwork to launch a catering business called Elegant Events by Beth just 3 weeks prior. The business registration listed Bethany's home address and included a detailed description of services that were almost identical to Gloria's established company, Patterson's Perfect Parties. Even the logo design Bethany had submitted looked suspiciously similar to Gloria's meticulously crafted branding. Gloria paid for copies of all the documents, poring over them in her car. Bethany's business plan was aggressively ambitious. She intended to directly target the same upscale clients Gloria served, using the exact same menu options and pricing strategy. But thanks to Roland's inside information, Bethany planned to undercut Gloria's prices by just enough to effectively steal her clientele. The most infuriating revelation, however, was the business loan application. Bethany had applied for $25,000 in startup funding, brazenly using her knowledge of Gloria's financial success as irrefutable proof that the catering market was lucrative and viable. She had, quite literally, leveraged Gloria's accomplishments to secure capital that would be used to systematically destroy Gloria's business. Gloria drove directly to the bank where Bethany had applied for the loan. As an established business owner herself, she knew the loan officer, Patricia Williams. "Gloria, what brings you here today?" Patricia asked, surprised to see her. "Actually, I wanted to ask you about something confidential," Gloria began, her voice carefully modulated. "My aunt, Bethany Mitchell, applied for a business loan here recently. I'm concerned she might be planning something that could adversely affect my business." Patricia's expression grew serious. "I can't discuss specific loan applications, Gloria, but I can tell you that if you have concerns about potential trademark infringement or unfair business competition, you should document everything thoroughly and perhaps speak with a lawyer." Gloria pressed on. "Has she mentioned me or my business in any of her applications?" Patricia hesitated, then chose her words with extreme caution. "Let me just say that if I were you, Gloria, I would protect my business interests very carefully. That's all I can tell you." That cryptic warning was all Gloria needed. Bethany had, without a doubt, been exploiting Gloria's proprietary information and hard-earned reputation to secure funding for her competing venture. Gloria's next stop was the office of her own business attorney, Robert Chin. She had retained him when she first incorporated Patterson's Perfect Parties years ago, and she trusted him implicitly. "Gloria, this is deeply concerning," Robert said after reviewing the stack of documents she had brought. "Your aunt appears to be planning a business that could easily be construed as trademark infringement. And if she's using confidential information about your clients and pricing, that could be very strong grounds for a lawsuit. What should I do?" "Document everything," Robert advised. "Get irrefutable proof that she has access to your confidential business information. If you can prove that someone in your own household has been sharing your trade secrets with her, you have an exceptionally strong case." Gloria felt a grim wave of satisfaction. Not only could she systematically dismantle Roland and Bethany's illicit relationship, but she could now also shatter Bethany's predatory business aspirations. That evening, Gloria decided to test her theory, to subtly bait Roland. She casually mentioned to him that she was worried about burgeoning competition in the catering market. "Oh, what kind of competition?" Roland asked, looking up from his phone, a flicker of feigned interest in his eyes. "I heard someone else in town is starting a catering business. I'm worried they might try to steal my clients." Roland's expression was meticulously neutral, but Gloria caught the fleeting flash of guilt, the telltale tightening around his eyes. "Well, there's room for more than one caterer in town, right? Your business is so incredibly successful, I'm sure you don't have anything to worry about." "I suppose," Gloria mused, "it's just that this market is so intensely relationship-based. If someone had inside information about my clients and pricing, they could truly devastate my business." "Inside information?" Roland repeated, his voice laced with an exaggerated casualness that Gloria found almost comical. "Who would have access to that?" "Oh, just me, really," Gloria replied, her gaze unwavering. "And you, since we often discuss my work at home. But you'd never share that information with anyone, right?" "Of course not," Roland stammered quickly, his denial too vehement. "I would never do anything to hurt your business." Gloria simply nodded and smiled, a picture of trusting innocence. "I know. I trust you completely." The look of profound guilt that washed over Roland's face was almost comical. Almost. Later that night, after Roland was soundly asleep, Gloria checked his email again. Sure enough, there was a new message, a hastily typed communication from Roland Patterson to Bethany Mitchell. Subject: FYI, Gloria's getting paranoid about competition. We need to be more careful about how we discuss your business plans. Maybe we should wait a few months before you officially launch. And Bethany's reply, dripping with arrogant confidence. Subject: FYI. Don't worry so much. Gloria trusts me completely. She would never suspect her own aunt of trying to steal her business. By the time she figures out what's happening, I'll already have half her clients. Gloria printed the emails, adding them to her burgeoning evidence file. Bethany's arrogance was breathtaking, her unshakable belief that family loyalty would shield her from any consequences. But the emails also revealed another disturbing detail. Bethany had already begun actively approaching Gloria's clients. The message explicitly mentioned 3 specific events that Bethany had offered to cater for 20% less than Gloria's quoted price. Gloria cross-referenced her client database and found the 3 events Bethany had cited. All 3 clients had recently called to postpone their events indefinitely. At the time, Gloria had been disappointed but understanding. Now the chilling truth hit her. Bethany had successfully stolen those clients, leveraging privileged information that Roland had provided. The financial damage had already begun. Those 3 events alone would have brought in $6,500 in revenue. Bethany had already cost Gloria significant money, and she was just getting started. Gloria sat back in her chair, a cold, predatory smile spreading across her lips. She had initially planned to expose Roland and Bethany's affair simply to humiliate them. But now, a far more comprehensive, devastating idea had taken root. She was going to utterly destroy them financially and professionally, too. It was time to start setting traps. Wednesday morning, Gloria resolved to fully comprehend the intricate web of family manipulation they had woven. She called her cousin Rita, suggesting they meet for coffee to discuss Tyler's graduation party. "I noticed Bethany missed another family event," Gloria said carefully as they settled into a quiet corner of the local coffee shop. "I'm getting worried about her health." Rita sighed, stirring her latte. "Honestly, Gloria, I think something else is going on with Bethany. The headaches are just an excuse." "What do you mean?" Gloria asked, feigning innocent curiosity. "Well, she never used to miss family stuff before this year, and when she does come to things, she seems distracted, always checking her phone, leaving early. Last month at Mom's birthday dinner, she kept asking really strange questions about your work schedule." Gloria's pulse quickened. "What kind of questions?" "Weird stuff, like when your busy season was, what days you worked late, whether Roland ever helped with your events. I thought maybe she was just trying to be supportive, but it felt more like she was gathering information." "Information about what?" Gloria prompted. Rita leaned forward, lowering her voice conspiratorially. "Gloria, I think Bethany might be terribly jealous of your success. She kept making comments about how easy catering looks, how much money you probably make, how lucky you are to have such a supportive husband." Gloria felt a surge of nausea. Bethany had been systematically using family gatherings to research Gloria's life, meticulously searching for weaknesses to exploit and opportunities to steal. "Did she say anything specific about Roland?" "Actually, yes. She asked if he ever got tired of you working so much, if he felt neglected. I told her that wasn't any of her business, but she just laughed and said she was worried about you both." The manipulation was even more extensive, more insidious than Gloria had initially grasped. Bethany hadn't just been avoiding family events to conceal her affair. She had been strategically using the events she did attend to gather intelligence and plant insidious seeds of doubt about Gloria's marriage. "Rita, did Bethany ever ask you about my clients, my business practices?" "Now that you mention it, yeah," Rita replied, a furrow in her brow. "She wanted to know how you found new clients, what you charge for different types of events. She said she had a friend who was thinking about starting a catering business." Gloria's hands tightened around her coffee cup, her knuckles white. "When did these conversations start?" "Probably around March or April," Rita mused. "Is something wrong, Gloria?" Gloria forced herself to smile. "No, just curious. You know how family is, always interested in each other's lives." But as she drove home, Gloria's mind was a whirlwind March. That was precisely when Roland's secret expenses had begun, when the mysterious withdrawals and hotel charges had started appearing. Bethany had been meticulously planning this for months, gathering intelligence under the guise of being a loving, concerned aunt. That evening, Gloria decided to test the full extent of their manipulation. She called her mother. "Mom, can I ask you something? Has Bethany said anything to you about my marriage?" Her mother's voice was tentative. "What do you mean, sweetie?" "I don't know, just, has she expressed any concerns about Roland and me?" Her mother was quiet for a moment, a pause heavy with unspoken meaning. "Well, she has mentioned that you seem to work a lot. She worries that you might be putting too much pressure on yourself." "What else has she said, Mom?" Gloria pressed, her voice trembling slightly. "She thinks maybe Roland feels a little neglected sometimes. She suggested that you might want to make more time for your marriage. Gloria felt her blood pressure surge. Bethany had been systematically poisoning her own mother against her, subtly making it seem as if Gloria was neglecting her husband, when the horrifying truth was that Roland was actively cheating with Bethany herself. Did she suggest any specific ways I should make more time for Roland? She thought maybe you could cut back on weekend events, spend more time at family gatherings. She said Roland mentioned that he misses spending time with family. The irony was staggering, a grotesque punchline to a cruel joke. Bethany was actively encouraging Gloria to attend more family events that Bethany herself was deliberately skipping to rendezvous with Roland. She was literally attempting to manipulate Gloria into being in the wrong place at the wrong time. "Mom, did Bethany ever ask you to invite Roland to family events without me?" Another pause, longer this time, thick with realization. "Once or twice," her mother finally admitted. She said, "Maybe the men should have their own time together, that you might enjoy having a quiet evening at home after working so hard." Gloria closed her eyes, counting to 10, trying to regain her composure. Bethany had been attempting to create convenient opportunities to be alone with Roland at family gatherings, all while framing it as a considerate gesture towards Gloria's busy schedule. After she hung up, Gloria sat in her car, the silence deafening, trying to process the full, horrific scope of her discoveries. This wasn't just an affair. It was a calculated, multi-pronged campaign to isolate her, steal from her, and utterly destroy her business. Bethany had been operating on multiple fronts, manipulating family members to believe Gloria was neglecting Roland, diligently gathering business intelligence to poach Gloria's clients, carefully creating opportunities for secret meetings with Roland, and cunningly positioning herself as the caring, available alternative to the workaholic wife. Every single family interaction over the past 8 months had been contaminated by Bethany's insidious agenda. Every expression of concern, every piece of advice, every suggestion had been meticulously designed to benefit Bethany's affair and her predatory business plans. Gloria thought about all the times she had defended Bethany to family members who noticed her frequent absences, all the times she had covered for Roland when he missed events. She had been, unknowingly, actively helping them maintain their intricate web of deception while they systematically undermined her very existence. But now, Gloria understood the full, chilling picture, and that knowledge bestowed upon her immense power. Bethany and Roland believed they were so clever, so careful in their sophisticated manipulation. They had no idea that their victim had now become their relentless documentarian, meticulously recording every lie, every theft, every devastating betrayal. Gloria smiled grimly as she started her car. Tomorrow was Thursday, Roland's fake guys' night with Mike, which meant tomorrow night Gloria would finally catch them in the act. Thursday morning, Gloria informed Roland she had a last-minute catering consultation that evening and might not be home until quite late. She watched his face, a flicker of barely concealed excitement lighting his eyes. "That's fine, babe. I'll just hang out with Mike. Maybe grab some dinner after the game." "Sounds perfect," Gloria replied, her voice eerily calm. "I'll probably be exhausted when I get home anyway." Gloria spent the day methodically preparing for what she knew would be the most emotionally arduous evening of her life. She fully charged her phone's camera, ensured her car had a full tank of gas, and mentally rehearsed every agonizing detail of what she would do when she finally caught them together. At precisely 6:00 p.m., Roland left the house, offering a casual kiss goodbye. Gloria waited a meticulous 15 minutes, then followed the route she knew he would take to Bethany's house. She parked across the street from Bethany's duplex, carefully concealed behind a large, sprawling oak tree that provided a clear, unobstructed view of the front door. At 6:45, Roland's car pulled into Bethany's driveway. Gloria watched her husband of 20 years walk up to her aunt's front door as if he belonged there, as if it were his own home. Bethany opened the door before he could even knock, and they embraced passionately on the doorstep. Gloria's hands shook uncontrollably as she took photos, but she forced herself to keep clicking, each click a hammer blow against the lies. This was evidence. This was irrefutable proof of their betrayal, documented in a way that could not be denied or explained away. Through Bethany's living room window, Gloria could discern their movements within the house. They were comfortable together, intimately familiar with each other's space, their bodies moving with an ease that spoke volumes. This was not a nascent relationship. It was an established, deeply entrenched routine. At 7:30, they reemerged, now dressed up, clearly prepared for a dinner date. Gloria followed them to Chat Laurent, the most expensive and exclusive French restaurant in town. Through the restaurant's front window, she watched them, holding hands across the linen-draped table, Roland feeding Bethany bites of dessert, the intensely intimate way they gazed at each other. The scene was simultaneously heartbreaking and infuriating. This was the same Roland who had courted Gloria 21 years ago, the same gestures, the same expressions that had once been exclusively reserved for his wife. Gloria took more photos from the parking lot, capturing clear, undeniable images of their faces, their intimate body language, the expensive bottle of wine Roland had ordered. She meticulously noted the time, the location, the undeniable romantic nature of their evening. At 9:15, they returned to Bethany's house. Gloria waited in her car, continuing to take photos as they walked to the front door together. Roland did not leave. The lights in Bethany's bedroom flickered on, and Gloria knew she had seen enough. She drove home, tears streaming down her face, but beneath the anguish, a grim satisfaction settled in. She finally possessed irrefutable proof of the affair: photos, dates, specific locations, and soon, witness statements from the restaurant staff who had undoubtedly observed their overt affection. But Gloria wasn't finished gathering evidence, not by a long shot. She spent Friday morning meticulously creating a comprehensive timeline of the affair, cross-referencing Roland's countless lies with bank statements, credit card charges, and Bethany's conveniently timed absences from family events. The pattern was chillingly clear. February 14th, the first suspicious charge at an expensive restaurant, precisely the same day Bethany had missed a family Valentine's dinner, claiming a headache. March 3rd, a hotel charge for $347, the same weekend Bethany was supposedly out of town visiting a friend. March 15th, a large cash withdrawal from their joint savings, the very day Roland claimed to have emergency car repairs. April 22nd, a jewelry purchase at Tiffany's. The same week, Bethany mysteriously started wearing a new diamond necklace she claimed was a treat to herself. Every lie had a paper trail. Every deception left undeniable evidence. Gloria had constructed an airtight case that would be impossible for them to deny, but she still wasn't ready for the confrontation. She desired more than just proof of the affair. She wanted to catch them actively conspiring to destroy her business. Friday evening, Gloria installed a discreet recording app on her phone and carefully placed it in Roland's home office, hidden behind a stack of books. If he was going to call Bethany to discuss stealing her clients, she would have irrefutable proof of that conspiracy as well. Her patience was rewarded Saturday morning when she listened to the recording. Roland had called Bethany around 11 p.m. Friday night. The Jacobson anniversary party is this Sunday. Gloria's been planning it for months. It's worth $8,000. Bethany's voice, cold and calculating, came through clearly. Perfect. I'll call Mrs. Jacobson tomorrow morning and tell her about my new business. If I offer to do the same event for $6,000, she might be willing to switch. Roland hesitated. What if she says it's too late to change caterers? I'll tell her that Gloria's been having health problems and might not be reliable. Bethany's voice dripped with malice. Plant some doubt about whether she can handle such a big event. Gloria's hands clenched into fists as she listened to them plotting to sabotage her biggest event of the month. They weren't just stealing her money and betraying her trust. They were actively attempting to destroy her hard-earned reputation and her entire livelihood. The recording continued with even more damning evidence. Bethany had already contacted 3 of Gloria's regular clients, utilizing highly specific information that Roland had provided about their personal preferences and budget constraints. She had successfully stolen the Morrison family reunion catering job by offering to provide the exact same menu for $200 less than Gloria's quoted price. By Saturday afternoon, Gloria had everything she needed: damning photos of the affair, irrefutable financial records of their theft, incriminating emails proving their sophisticated conspiracy to steal her business, and chilling recorded conversations planning to systematically sabotage her professional reputation. She spent the remainder of the weekend meticulously organizing all the evidence into a comprehensive, unassailable file. Bank statements, credit card records, photographs, emails, audio recordings, and witness statements from unwitting family members. It was an overwhelming case that painted a crystal-clear picture of calculated betrayal and egregious fraud. Gloria also dedicated time to meticulously preparing for the confrontation itself. She researched the most reputable divorce attorneys in town, carefully calculated the precise value of all their shared assets, and made multiple copies of every crucial document. She opened her own, separate bank account at a different financial institution and began discreetly redirecting her business income there. Most importantly, she envisioned and planned the perfect venue for her meticulously orchestrated revenge. It needed to be public enough that Roland and Bethany couldn't possibly deny what had transpired, yet controlled enough that Gloria could present her evidence methodically, with maximum impact. She decided on her mother's 65th birthday party, scheduled for the following Saturday. Every important family member would be present, including the cousins and aunts who had been manipulated by Bethany's elaborate lies. It would be the absolutely perfect audience for the truth to be unveiled. Gloria smiled grimly as she sealed the evidence files in protective folders. Roland and Bethany believed they were so intelligent, so careful, so far ahead of naive, trusting Gloria. They had no idea that their victim had now become their judge, their jury, and their executioner. The week leading up to her mother's birthday party, Gloria moved through her life like an accomplished actress playing a demanding role. She smiled at Roland's continued lies, accepted his feigned affection, and even assisted him in selecting a thoughtful gift for her mother, all while secretly recording their conversations and meticulously documenting his ongoing financial theft from their joint accounts. Roland had withdrawn another $600 on Tuesday, claiming he needed cash for a work lunch. Gloria discreetly followed him to a high-end jewelry store, where he purchased Bethany an expensive bracelet, undoubtedly an early birthday present, as Bethany's birthday was the following month. Meanwhile, Gloria was making her own final critical preparations. She hired a private investigator to officially document Roland and Bethany's illicit activities, creating an undeniable paper trail that would hold up under intense scrutiny in court. She also met with her divorce attorney again, filing preliminary paperwork that would be ready to submit the very moment she gave the green light. On Thursday, Bethany called to confirm her attendance at the birthday party. "I wouldn't miss Mom's 65th for anything," she said sweetly, her voice dripping with false sincerity. "I'm even bringing a special surprise." Gloria had no doubt she was. Bethany probably planned to arrive wearing Roland's expensive bracelet, claiming she had bought it for herself or received it from some mysterious, wealthy admirer. "That's wonderful, Aunt Beth. Mom will be so happy to have everyone there. Speaking of everyone, is Roland coming? I know he's been busy with work lately." The casual way Bethany inquired about Roland made Gloria's skin crawl. She was fishing for information, attempting to ascertain whether she and Roland could sit together, whether they could seamlessly continue their charade of being nothing more than innocent in-laws. "Of course, he'll be there," Gloria confirmed, a subtle tremor in her voice. "He's been looking forward to it all week." "Great. It'll be nice to see him. We haven't talked in so long." That statement was rich, Gloria thought bitterly, considering she had recordings of them talking for hours just 2 days prior, meticulously planning which of Gloria's clients to target next. Friday evening, Gloria made her final, meticulous preparations. She organized all her overwhelming evidence into clearly labeled, easily accessible folders. Photos of Roland and Bethany intimately together went into one folder. Financial documents unequivocally demonstrating their theft went into another. and the chilling audio recordings of their business conspiracy, planning to sabotage her livelihood, went into a third. She also meticulously prepared a presentation on her laptop, complete with a damning timeline of the affair and irrefutable screenshots of their most damaging emails. If she was going to publicly destroy them, she was going to do it thoroughly, methodically, and professionally. That night, Roland came home with flowers again. Cheap grocery store roses, clearly a last-minute afterthought. "Just thought my beautiful wife deserved something special before the big party tomorrow," he said, kissing her cheek, his performance almost convincing. Gloria accepted the flowers with a practiced smile. "That's sweet. I'm excited for tomorrow. It'll be so nice to have the whole family together." "Yeah," Roland echoed, oblivious to the deeper meaning. "It's been too long since we've all been in the same place." The irony of that statement was absolutely perfect. Yes, it had been far too long since Roland and Bethany had been in the same room with Gloria and the rest of the family, under these specific circumstances. Tomorrow, everyone would finally, irrevocably understand why. Saturday morning, Gloria prepared for the party with an unusual, almost ceremonial care. She selected a sophisticated navy blue dress that projected an aura of professionalism and unwavering confidence, styled her hair elegantly, and put on the sparkling diamond earrings Roland had gifted her for their 15th wedding anniversary. A poignant reminder of a time when his gifts had actually been for her. She meticulously packed her evidence folders into a large, sturdy purse and loaded the comprehensive presentation onto a flash drive. She also brought a portable speaker, knowing intuitively that she might need to play the damning recorded conversations for everyone present to hear. The party was being held at the community center, the very same venue where Tyler's graduation celebration had taken place just weeks prior. Gloria arrived early, not just to help her mother set up, but to strategically position herself for the inevitable detonation of truth. "You look absolutely beautiful today, sweetheart," her mother said, adjusting the festive decorations on the main table. "That dress is perfect on you." "Thank you, Mom," Gloria replied, her voice calm, composed. "I wanted to look special for your big day." Gloria's sister Denise was busy arranging flowers when she looked up, a flicker of concern crossing her face. "Gloria, you seem different today, kind of intense. Is everything okay?" "Everything's perfect, Denise," Gloria affirmed, her smile unwavering. "In fact, I think today is going to be a day nobody in our family ever forgets." Family members began arriving around 2 p.m. Gloria greeted each one warmly, her mind meticulously noting who was present: Rita, Uncle Jerome, cousins Marie and Kevin, countless family friends and neighbors. Everyone who had been subtly manipulated and lied to by Bethany's elaborate deceptions over the past 8 months. Roland arrived at 2:30, looking impeccably handsome in the navy suit Gloria had helped him select. He kissed her hello, his public display of affection a grotesque pantomime, and then seamlessly mingled with the family, playing the role of the devoted husband with practiced ease. Bethany arrived fashionably late at 3:00 p.m., making a grand entrance in a stunning red dress, prominently displaying the expensive bracelet Roland had purchased for her just 2 days prior. She embraced Gloria warmly, the same affectionate hug she had bestowed upon her for 2 decades, all while wearing jewelry purchased with Gloria's stolen money. "Happy birthday, Mom," Bethany chirped, presenting their mother with an opulent gift basket. "I know how much you love those gourmet chocolates." Gloria watched Roland's face as Bethany hugged their mother. His expression was tender, almost proud, as if he were observing his real wife interact with his family. The casual intimacy between them was now glaringly obvious, undeniable, now that Gloria knew precisely what to look for. At 3:30, Gloria's mother called everyone together for the traditional birthday toast. This was it, the moment Gloria had painstakingly waited for, planned for. "Before we toast, Mom," Gloria announced, rising slowly, her purse heavy with the weight of undeniable evidence, "I have something important to share with the family, something everyone needs to know." The room fell silent, the festive chatter instantly dying. Gloria could see confusion etched on some faces, a growing unease on others. Roland looked genuinely puzzled, and Bethany, for the first time, appeared slightly nervous, though still radiating an air of confident composure. Gloria offered them both a chilling smile and opened her first evidence folder. It's time for some truth in this family. Gloria stood before her assembled family, her gaze fixed directly on Roland and Bethany as she opened the first folder. The room was utterly silent, every person present sensing that something profoundly significant, irrevocably life-altering, was about to unfold. 8 months ago, Gloria began, her voice steady and unnervingly clear, my marriage and my family were systematically destroyed by 2 people I trusted more than anyone else in the world. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what they've been doing behind my back. She pulled out the first photograph, Roland and Bethany kissing passionately in the parking lot of the Riverside Mall. This is my husband, Roland, and my Aunt Bethany, taken last Thursday at 11:47 a.m. Roland told me he was at work. Bethany told everyone she was too sick with a headache to come to Tyler's graduation party. Gasps rippled around the room, a collective intake of horrified breath. Gloria's mother dropped her coffee cup, and it shattered on the floor, mirroring the chaos in Gloria's heart. Roland's face went white, a mask of pure terror, while Bethany looked as if she were about to vomit. "Gloria, wait!" Roland stammered, attempting to speak, but Gloria held up her hand, a gesture of absolute, unshakable authority. "No, Roland, you've done enough talking. For 8 months, you've been lying to me, stealing from me, and sleeping with my aunt. Now it's my turn to talk." She pulled out more photos, methodically laying them on the table for everyone to see. Roland and Bethany at a romantic dinner, holding hands, Roland buying Bethany expensive jewelry, and finally, Bethany herself, sitting at this very party, wearing the bracelet he had purchased just 2 days prior. These photos were taken over the past 2 weeks, but the affair has been going on since February. I have bank records showing that Roland has stolen nearly $13,000 from our joint accounts to pay for hotel rooms, expensive dinners, and gifts for Bethany. Gloria's sister Denise stood up, her face etched with shock and disbelief, staring at the damning photographs. "Bethany, is this true?" Bethany's mouth opened and closed, but no words escaped. She looked desperately at Roland, but he was staring fixedly at the floor, unable to meet anyone's gaze. "It gets worse," Gloria continued, pulling out printouts of their emails. "They haven't just been having an affair. They've been conspiring to steal my clients and systematically destroy my business." She proceeded to read several of the most incriminating emails aloud, including the ones where they openly mocked Gloria's trusting nature and meticulously planned to undercut her prices. The room erupted in angry murmurs as family members finally grasped the full, horrifying scope of the betrayal. Uncle Jerome stepped forward, his face flushed with righteous anger. "Bethany, you were supposed to be Gloria's family. How could you do this?" "And the manipulation runs even deeper," Gloria added, pulling out her notes from her conversations with various family members. "Bethany has been lying to all of you, subtly making you think I was neglecting Roland, that I was too focused on work to be a good wife. She convinced Mom that Roland felt neglected. She told Rita that she was worried about my marriage." Gloria's mother, finding her voice at last, looked at Bethany with a profound mixture of hurt and confusion. "You told me Gloria wasn't taking care of her husband properly. You said she needed to spend less time working and more time with Roland, all while you were sleeping with Roland yourself." "She was manipulating our entire family," Gloria reiterated, her voice cutting through the rising din, "to create opportunities for their affair and to make me look like the problem in my marriage." The room exploded in angry voices. Family members who had previously defended Bethany's convenient absences from events now realized they had unwittingly been protecting her intricate web of lies. Cousins who had listened to her feigned concerns about Gloria's work habits finally understood they had been systematically manipulated. But Gloria wasn't finished. She pulled out her phone and connected it to the portable speaker she had brought. "I also have recordings of them planning to sabotage my business. This conversation took place last Friday night." She played the recording, and Roland and Bethany's voices filled the room, clearly discussing stealing the Jacobson anniversary party and deliberately spreading malicious lies about Gloria's reliability. The room fell silent again, every person listening intently as their voices, cold and calculating, plotted against Gloria's livelihood. When the recording ended, Rita spoke up, her voice shaking with barely contained fury. "They were going to destroy your reputation, your business that you built from nothing." "That's exactly right," Gloria affirmed, her gaze unwavering as she looked at her husband and aunt. "But here's the beautiful part. None of their plans worked. Mrs. Jacobson's anniversary party was a huge success last Sunday. My business is stronger than ever, and now everyone knows exactly who they really are." She turned to face Roland and Bethany directly, her voice laced with a bitter triumph. "You thought I was stupid, didn't you? Sweet, trusting Gloria, who would never suspect her loving husband and devoted aunt. You used my love for both of you as a weapon against me." Bethany finally found her voice, tears streaming down her face, a pathetic attempt at remorse. "Gloria, please, let me explain." "Explain what?" Gloria's voice, for the first time, rose with raw, unbridled emotion. "Explain how you sat at my kitchen table for months, listening to me talk about my marriage problems, giving me advice about my relationship, all while you were sleeping with my husband? Explain how you used information I shared with you in confidence to steal my clients." She pulled out the financial statements unequivocally showing the money Roland had stolen. "Explain how you let Roland spend our retirement savings, our kitchen renovation fund, our emergency money on your affair. Explain how you were planning to destroy the business I've spent 15 years building." The room was completely silent, save for Bethany's ragged sobs. Roland still hadn't uttered a single word, hadn't made the slightest attempt to defend himself or apologize. Gloria's mother stood up slowly, looking at Bethany with profound disappointment and heartbreak. "You're my daughter, Bethany. I raised you. I trusted you. I loved you like my own child. How could you betray Gloria like this? How could you betray our entire family?" "Mom, Bethany began, but Helen held up her hand, her gaze firm, her voice thick with pain. "Don't call me Mom anymore. You lost that right when you decided to destroy my daughter's life." Gloria felt a powerful surge of love and gratitude for her mother, but she had one more final revelation to share. She pulled out the business registration documents for Elegant Events by Beth. And just so everyone understands the full scope of their plans, Bethany has already filed paperwork to start a competing catering business, using information she stole from me. She's received a $25,000 loan based on my company's success, planning to undercut my prices and steal my clients. Uncle Jerome looked at the business documents with disgust. "This is fraud, Bethany. You could go to prison for this." "She might," Gloria agreed, her voice cold, unwavering. "I've turned all of this evidence over to my attorney and the police. The theft, the conspiracy, the fraud, it's all documented and reported." For the first time, Roland looked up, pure panic flooding his eyes. "Gloria, please, we can work this out. We can go to counseling. Gloria laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. "There is no we anymore, Roland. There hasn't been a we since February when you decided to destroy our marriage. The divorce papers will be filed Monday morning." As she looked around the room at her family, the people who had loved and supported her, the people who had been manipulated and lied to by two individuals they had deeply trusted. "I'm sorry you all had to hear this today, especially at Mom's birthday party, but I needed everyone to know the truth. For months, you've been hearing lies about me, concerns about my marriage, questions about my priorities. Now you know exactly where those lies came from." Gloria packed her evidence back into the folders, picked up her purse, and walked toward the door. As she left, she could hear the angry voices of her family members confronting Roland and Bethany. She could hear her mother crying, her sister demanding answers, her cousins expressing their utter disgust and profound sense of betrayal. But Gloria didn't look back. She had said everything she needed to say. The truth was finally out, and her revenge, though painful, was complete. Now it was time for the next chapter of her life to begin. 6 months later, Gloria sat in her newly renovated kitchen office, a space that now felt truly hers, reviewing the glowing financial reports that confirmed her catering business had grown by a remarkable 40% since her divorce. The kitchen renovation she had dreamed of for years was finally complete, a tangible symbol of her resilience, paid for entirely with her own hard-earned money and the comprehensive settlement she had received from Roland. The divorce had been remarkably swift and decisive. Faced with the overwhelming mountain of irrefutable evidence Gloria had meticulously gathered, Roland's attorney had wisely advised him not to contest anything. Gloria retained the house, the thriving business, and the majority of their shared assets. Roland was ordered to repay every single penny he had stolen, plus significant damages for his attempted sabotage of her business. Her phone rang, a pleasant interruption to her thoughts. It was her attorney, Robert Chin, with another update on the ongoing legal proceedings against Bethany. "Good news, Gloria. Bethany's business loan has been revoked and the bank is actively pursuing fraud charges against her. She's also being investigated for attempted trademark infringement and theft of trade secrets." Gloria smiled, a genuine, radiant smile. "What about her catering business?" "Never got off the ground," Robert replied, a note of satisfaction in his voice. "Word spread pretty quickly through the industry about what she tried to do to you. No vendors would work with her. No venues would book her events. She's been effectively blacklisted." The professional consequences had been even more profoundly satisfying than the legal ones. The catering and event planning community in their city was small, tight-knit, and fiercely protective. When Gloria's story spread, the tale of a successful, respected businesswoman betrayed by her husband and her own aunt, who then attempted to steal her clients and destroy her livelihood, the industry had rallied around her with overwhelming support. Gloria had gained 3 new high-end clients in the past month alone, all of whom had specifically sought her out because they admired her strength, integrity, and grace in handling such a horrific situation. Her reputation for professionalism and unwavering ethical conduct had astonishingly been enhanced by the ordeal. The personal consequences for Roland and Bethany had been equally devastating. Roland was now living in a small, nondescript apartment across town, working endless overtime to pay the court-ordered restitution. His reputation at work had been irrevocably damaged when word spread about his theft and affair. Several mutual friends, disgusted by his actions, had cut contact with him entirely. Bethany had fared even worse. She had been, quite literally, excommunicated from the family. Gloria's mother, Helen, had changed her will to remove Bethany entirely. Family events now happened without her, and those who had once defended her convenient absences now understood, with a profound sense of shame, that they had been systematically manipulated by her intricate web of lies. The final blow had come when Bethany, seeking a fresh start, attempted to move to a different city, only to discover that her former employer had given her a scathing reference, explicitly mentioning the fraud investigation and significant ethical concerns. She was, professionally, persona non grata. Gloria's assistant, Monica, knocked on the office door, bringing in the mail and a steaming cup of coffee. "The Henderson family wants to book you for their daughter's wedding next spring," Monica announced, setting down a thick envelope. "And there's a personal letter here for you." Gloria opened the personal letter and immediately recognized Bethany's familiar, elegant handwriting. Her aunt had written a rambling 5-page letter, replete with tearful pleas for forgiveness, claiming she had been manipulated and coerced by Roland, insisting that the affair meant nothing and had been a terrible, isolated mistake. The letter was a verbose litany of excuses and flimsy justifications, carefully painting Bethany as a hapless victim of Roland's persuasive charms rather than an equal, willing partner in the calculated betrayal. She begged Gloria to give her another chance, to remember all the good times they had shared, to consider the sacred bond of family loyalty. Gloria read the entire letter, every self-serving word, then, without a second thought, fed it into her paper shredder. Some betrayals were simply too complete for forgiveness, and some trust, once shattered so spectacularly, could never be rebuilt. Her mother, Helen, had initially struggled with the agonizing decision to cut Bethany out of her life, torn between her love for both her daughters. But over time, as the full, insidious extent of Bethany's manipulation became undeniably clear, Helen had found a quiet peace with her decision. "She didn't just betray you," her mother had said recently, her voice firm. "She betrayed all of us. She used our love for her as a weapon against our love for you." And the family dynamics had actually improved significantly in Bethany's absence. Without her subtle manipulations, her planted doubts, and her insidious gossip, family gatherings were now warmer, more genuine, and truly authentic. Gloria's relationship with her mother and sister had grown immeasurably stronger, built on an unshakable foundation of complete honesty and unwavering support. Even professionally, Gloria had discovered unexpected benefits from her ordeal. Several of her new clients had mentioned how incredibly impressed they were with her strength, integrity, and sheer fortitude during the divorce. She had handled the personal and professional crisis with such grace, transparency, and unwavering professionalism that it had, ironically, profoundly enhanced her reputation in the community. The phone rang again, and this time it was Mrs. Jacobson, the very client whose anniversary party Bethany had so callously tried to steal. "Gloria, I just wanted to thank you again for that absolutely wonderful anniversary celebration. My husband and I have been recommending you to everyone we know. In fact, I have 3 friends who want to meet with you about their upcoming events." "That's wonderful, Mrs. Jacobson," Gloria replied, her smile widening. "I'd be happy to meet with them. I also wanted you to know that someone called me a few months ago trying to convince me to switch caterers," Mrs. Jacobson continued, her voice filled with polite indignation. "She claimed you were unreliable and might not be able to handle my event properly. I didn't believe her for a second. Your professionalism speaks for itself, but I thought you should know." Gloria's smile deepened. Even Bethany's desperate, malicious attempts to sabotage her reputation had spectacularly backfired, serving only to further demonstrate Gloria's impeccable integrity and professionalism to her valued clients. After hanging up, Gloria walked through her beautiful new kitchen, admiring the gleaming granite countertops and the professional-grade appliances she had installed with her settlement money. This space was entirely hers, a sanctuary built with her own success, untainted by stolen funds or insidious betrayals. She had been dreaming of this renovation for years, diligently saving money and meticulously planning every single detail. Now it was complete, and it felt like a powerful symbol of her new life, a life built on her own terms, funded by her own hard work, designed to serve her own soaring dreams. That evening, Gloria hosted a small, intimate dinner party for her closest family. Her mother, her sister, and several cherished cousins gathered around her new dining table, enjoying a delicious meal Gloria had prepared herself. The conversation was easy, genuine, and refreshingly free from the insidious undercurrents of manipulation that had poisoned so many previous gatherings. "I'm so incredibly proud of you," her mother said, her eyes shining with love and admiration as they cleaned up after dinner. "The way you handled everything, it took real strength." "I learned something profoundly important, Mom," Gloria replied, wiping down a counter. "Being trusting and loving doesn't mean you have to be naive. I can still believe the best in people while fiercely protecting myself from those who would take advantage." Her sister Denise nodded emphatically. "You've inspired all of us, Gloria. The way you planned everything, gathered your evidence, made sure justice was served, it was like watching a masterclass in standing up for yourself." As her family departed that evening, Gloria stood in her kitchen doorway, watching their car lights disappear down the quiet street. 6 months ago, she had felt utterly alone, completely devastated, and profoundly betrayed. Tonight, she felt surrounded by an abundance of love and unwavering support from people who truly valued her for who she was. Her business was thriving beyond her wildest expectations. Her home was a beautiful sanctuary, and her relationships were built on genuine, unshakable foundations. She had lost a husband who never truly loved her, and an aunt who had been willing to utterly destroy her for personal gain. In return, she had gained something far more valuable: complete, absolute control over her own life and destiny. Gloria poured herself a glass of wine and stepped onto her back porch, looking up at the vast expanse of stars. Tomorrow, she had 3 crucial client consultations, an exciting wedding to meticulously plan, and an exhilarating future to boldly build. She had never been happier or more profoundly confident in her entire life. Roland and Bethany had deluded themselves into believing they were so clever, so careful in their calculated betrayal. They had disastrously underestimated the quiet strength, the fierce intelligence, and the indomitable spirit of the woman they had so cruelly chosen to deceive. Now they knew better. And Gloria Patterson, successful businesswoman, beloved family member, and triumphant survivor, was just getting started.